Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're anything like me, the wait for Wednesday Season 2 has been, agonizing, to say the least.
It feels like forever.
Right. But let's dry those tears, spooky friends, because today we are diving into all things Wednesday Season 2. We've got confirmed intel, straight from the source, casting announcements, production whispers, all that good stuff.
The good stuff. Yeah.
And trust me, even though the premiere is still a while out, there are some seriously juicy tidbits to unpack.
Oh, there are. And we've been poring over all the latest news, all those little behind-the-scenes hints. Got to separate the facts from, the fan theories.
Exactly.
And I think the first big question on everyone's mind is when? When can we actually expect to see Wednesday back on our screens?
Everyone's dying to know.
I know. So no official release date yet. Gotta love Netflix for that.
The suspense.
Right. But they have confirmed a 2025 release.
Okay, 2025 feels like a million years away, I know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They just dropped some behind-the-scenes footage.
Oh, yeah.
And this isn't just your standard, cameras are rolling fluff. We're talking set glimpses, costume sneak peeks, plus a pretty significant change in scenery.
A big one. Production has moved from Romania to Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Now, you might be thinking, Ireland. How does gloomy old Ireland fit with, the whole Addams Family vibe?
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's a great question. But think about it. Ireland's got Gothic castles, those moody landscapes. It's basically the Addams Family aesthetic, but, on location.
It's perfect.
Right. But even more interesting, I think, is what this move might actually say about Netflix's priorities. Moving production, that's a huge undertaking. And to me, it signals that they're pulling out all the stops for Wednesday. Yeah. So maybe, just maybe, this means a smoother, faster filming process.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Speaking of bigger and better, can we talk about this cast list?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Seriously, they're adding, a dozen new characters?
At least. It's a very impressive lineup. And what's really fascinating is the range. We've got these huge names, these established actors like Fandiwe Newton and Steve Buscemi.
Right. That's going to say something about the show's success, right?
Yeah.
These are big names signing on for season 2 of a teen-centric show.
Exactly. It just shows how Wednesday has really captured something,
The cultural zeitgeist, it's true.
Yes. And I think it adds a whole other layer for us as viewers, right? Because now we're trying to figure out, okay, who are they playing? How are they going to fit into the world of Nevermore?
Totally. And speaking of intriguing casting choices, did you see Billie Piper join the cast?
I did. Fantastic.
Right. Talk about a casting choice that feels so spot on. She's got that perfect blend of, dark humor and edge that just screams Addams Family.
Absolutely.
Plus, she brings in a whole fan base from her previous work, especially among, younger viewers.
Definitely.
So I'm very curious to see what kind of character she brings to the Addams Family universe.
Me too. Although I will say Netflix is being incredibly tight-lipped about everyone's roles. We're getting these cryptic hints, vague teasers, but nothing concrete.
Classic Netflix. It's all about the slow reveal.
Oh, yeah, they're masters at it.
Keeping the hype going by making us wait. It's basically marketing genius.
It really is. Now, before we get too caught up in the new faces, we can't forget about another exciting addition.
Ooh, who's that?
Christopher Lloyd.
Yes. I love this so much. Okay, for those who might not immediately recognize the name, we're talking about the one and only Uncle Fester from the '91 Addams Family film.
Oh, yeah.
How's that for metacasting?
It's brilliant. It's like they're winking at fans of the original, but also still very much carving out their own path with this new, iteration of the Addams Family,
Totally.
It's clever.
Okay, so we've got all these new cast members, but I'm sure you're wondering about the rest of the gang from Nevermore, right? Our favorites coming back.
Right. So some are confirmed. We know for sure that Jenna Ortega will be back as Wednesday. She's even been pretty vocal about where she wants to see the character go this season, which I think we can get into a little bit later.
Oh, definitely.
Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman are also returning as the iconic Morticia and Gomez Addams.
I mean, come on, what would the Addams Family be without them?
I know. It's not the Addams Family without Morticia and Gomez.
Exactly.
And of course, we can't forget our favorite werewolf in training. Isaac Ordonez will be back as Pugsley.
Yes, Pugsley. Okay, but now for the burning question on everyone's mind.
Okay.
What about those faces that we haven't seen? Because there are a few notable absences from that confirmed cast list. And even more telling from that behind-the-scenes footage.
Yes. And the most notable absence, I think, has to be Percy Hines-White, who played Xavier.
Right. And it's interesting, right? And, not to dwell on speculation or anything, but his absence is definitely noticeable. It kind of makes you wonder, will the writers address this in the show?
Yeah.
Or will Xavier's absence just be unexplained?
It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, that's for sure.
Totally. And speaking of characters whose fates are, let's just say, up in the air, we have to talk about Christina Ricci.
Oh, yes.
I mean, come on. Her character, Marilyn, or should I say Laurel, had a pretty definitive ending in season 1, right?
You'd think so, but then again, this is Wednesday we're talking about, so...
Anything is possible.
Right.
Especially when it comes to the Addams family.
Exactly. And you know what? Christina Ricci herself has added fuel to the fire. When asked about season 2, she said, quote, "On my end, the door is open."
Ooh. See? What did I tell you?
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Now, whether that's just wishful thinking or a genuine hint, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Ugh, the suspense is killing me. Okay, so we've got our returning favorites. We've got new faces. But what about the actual plot of season 2? Like, what mysteries are waiting for us at Nevermore?
Well, before we dive into all the hints we have about season 2, maybe a quick recap of season 1's ending is in order.
Yes, good idea.
Just to refresh everyone's memories, because...
Oh, I'm still trying to process all those twists and turns.
Right. It was a lot to handle. Okay, where do we even begin?
Yeah.
So Wednesday Addams, our favorite macabre heroine, ends up at Nevermore Academy, a school for outcasts. Vampires, werewolves, sirens, you name it.
If you're an outcast, Nevermore is the place to be.
Exactly.
And of course, it wouldn't be an Addams family story without a healthy dose of, mystery and mayhem.
Right. Right. We've got gruesome murders, a centuries-old prophecy involving Wednesday herself. And the love. Well, maybe not quite a love triangle, more like a...
Love.
Lied segment.
Yes. With Wednesday firmly at one end.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But we did get some classic teen drama in there. Tyler and Xavier both vying for Wednesday's attention.
We did. Although I think Wednesday would argue that those boys were vying for her attention, whether she wanted them to or not.
True.
But just when we thought we had the whole love triangle thing figured out, bam, plot twist.
Don't remind me.
Tyler, the sweet local boy, is actually the Hyde monster terrorizing the town.
Such a good twist.
Right.
And as if that wasn't enough. Oh, there's more. We find out he's being controlled by Miss Thornhill, the seemingly harmless botany teacher who, surprise, surprise, is actually Laurel Gates, a descendant of Nevermore's founding family with a serious vendetta against outcasts.
Talk about hidden agendas.
Right.
It was like twist after twist after twist in those last couple episodes. So we've got Laurel trying to resurrect her ancestor, this all-powerful, vengeful pilgrim.
Yeah.
And of course, she needs Wednesday's psychic abilities to do it.
Of course.
Okay.
Because what's an Addams family story without a little psychic intervention?
Right. It's not the Addams family without it.
Exactly.
So of course, Wednesday being Wednesday, she manages to defeat Laurel and the resurrected pilgrim.
Naturally.
But not without a few loose ends.
You think?
Yeah. We see Tyler break free from Laurel's control in the woods.
Oh.
But he's clearly still a danger.
Yeah, he's out there.
And then there's that whole creepy stalker situation.
Yeah.
Wednesday's getting those ominous text messages in the finale.
Right. Someone is watching her.
Clearly. But who?
Exactly. And not to mention Eugene's vision in the finale.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even get me started on that cliffhanger.
Right. What did he see?
What did he see?
New monster. New villain.
The possibilities are endless.
I know.
Ugh. Okay, so given all these unanswered questions, what have the showrunners actually revealed about their plans for season 2? What do we know for sure?
Well, thankfully, they've given us a few hints.
Okay.
For one, they've said that season 2 will lean into the horror even more.
Oh, interesting. So more horror. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a response to feedback from viewers, or... Because I know, a lot of fans loved the darker tone, those, classic Tim Burton-esque visuals.
Yeah. It's very possible. And, let's be real. No one does creepy and kooky quite like Tim Burton.
It's so true.
It's his specialty.
Okay, so more horror. I can definitely get behind that. What else?
Well, it sounds like Jenna Ortega is ready to take Wednesday to some pretty dark places this season. In interviews, she's mentioned wanting Wednesday to embrace her darker side and become more of an anti-hero, which is interesting.
Ooh, that is interesting. And knowing Wednesday, anti-hero could mean a whole lot of things.
Right.
Will she lean into those vigilante tendencies we saw in season 1? Or will she become, like, even more independent, even if it means pushing away potential allies?
It's a great question, and I think that's what's so brilliant about Wednesday Addams, right? She constantly keeps us guessing.
For sure.
But one thing the showrunners have made clear is that romantically, at least, Wednesday is going to be on her own this season.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they've confirmed that they're ditching the whole love triangle subplot altogether.
You know what? I'm actually kind of happy to hear that. As much as I love a good dose of teen drama, I think it's so much more interesting to see Wednesday just like focused on her own journey, her own growth,
Totally.
her own darkness.
Her own darkness, yeah. It lets her be that, like, complex, fiercely independent character that we all fell in love with. And speaking of that complexity, I think it's worth taking a moment to really appreciate Jenna Ortega's performance.
Oh, absolutely.
She's gotten so much praise for her Wednesday, and rightfully so. But what's so fascinating to me is the level of detail that she brought to the role. Like, she really embodied Wednesday.
She did. It's one thing to play a character, but she, like, inhabited her.
Yes.
You know.
Completely.
Did you know she learned to play cello for this role?
I did.
And she did all her own fencing.
Yeah, her dedication was incredible.
Incredible.
But it goes beyond even that. You know, she worked with a choreographer to develop a unique way of moving for Wednesday, something that captured, like, her awkwardness but also her underlying strength. And then there's that story of how Wednesday's iconic hairstyle came to be.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That severe center part double braid situation.
Yeah.
So good. So Wednesday.
Iconic. And that was actually Ortega's idea, to incorporate her real hair into the braids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they experimented with wigs, extensions, nothing looked quite right. And she was like, what if we cut my hair and use my real hair for the braids?
Wow.
So they did.
It's dedication. It's those little
It
details.
makes such a difference.
They really do. It makes all the difference.
And I think it speaks to, like, a larger point about the show itself, you know? Yeah. It's clear that everyone involved, the cast, the crew, they care so much about getting it right.
They do.
It's not just another teen drama. They're crafting this world that feels both familiar but also completely new.
Yes, and that attention to detail, I think, is a big part of what makes the show so enjoyable to watch. You want to see those details.
Exactly. Now, we do have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, or rather the tombstone in the graveyard. We're still a ways away from season 2. A lot can change between now and 2025.
That's true.
Scripts get rewritten, production schedules shift. It's the nature of television.
That is the nature of television, unfortunately.
Right.
But honestly, that kind of just adds to the excitement, doesn't it? Like, we have these tantalizing clues, these breadcrumbs from the creators and the cast, and it's up to us to piece them together, like imagine what might be in store for Wednesday and the gang at Nevermore.
And that's half the fun, right? Like, the speculation is running wild online. Everyone has their own theories about what season 2 is going to bring.
Oh, I know, and I love it. Okay, so to recap, season 2 is going darker, more horror-focused. Wednesday's embracing her psychic abilities, her anti-hero instincts. But the big question is, how will that impact those around her? What about her friendships, her relationship with her family? And what about those new characters? Who will be friend? Who will be foe? So many questions.
I know. And what new mysteries will Nevermore hold?
Right. Ugh, so many questions. Thankfully, we have plenty of time to speculate before 2025 rolls around. But in the meantime, I highly recommend revisiting season 1. You never know what details you might pick up on a second or third or fourth watch.
Exactly. Pay attention to those Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah.
You never know what might be a hint about season 2.
Ooh. Love that. Okay, spooky friends, that is about all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Wednesday.
Sad to see it end.
I know. But don't worry, we'll be back with more updates, more analysis, as soon as we get our hands on them.
Oh, we're just as eager as you are to see what season 2 holds.
For sure. In the meantime, let us know your theories. What do you think Wednesday's whole anti-hero journey is going to look like? Who do you think is behind those creepy texts? Head over to our social media pages, join the conversation, let us know. Thanks for diving deep with us.